Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Keg and Crow, where we love all things Warhammer. So, I missed the last Old World update. I was super busy for like a week, and by then everyone had heard about it. I'm still pretty late on this one. I'm 3 days late, but Total War Warhammer 3 came out, and I had my priorities somewhere else. Game is fantastic. If you haven't played it yet, I'd really recommend it as soon as you get a chance. Speaking of which, there was a little bit of cross-promotion here. So they have announced that after a couple of decades of work with Warhammer, they have finally fleshed out Cathay. Cathay is available to play in Total War Warhammer 3. They had said earlier that they even made rules and everything for the tabletop in 8th edition so that they could play test it on the table before they put it into the video game. Something I thought was really cool, but they sadly never released the information for making it playable. But it looks like that's not going to be a problem for long. Well, this has been in the works for a couple of years, and we don't know when it's going to come out. So maybe it will be a problem for a little bit longer. If you hear something weird in the background, there's somebody snow blowing their sidewalk, so please try to ignore it. So there's a little bit of artwork. They say that they fleshed it out. Creative Assembly also had a hand in helping flesh it out, both visually and lore-wise. I'm sure there's a ton of new lore, since there wasn't a whole lot before. It was always kind of like a far-off, mystical place, and if they needed something really foreign and mysterious, it was usually like Cathay or Nippon or something that they would put that under. And it's kind of cool that they're finally fleshing this out, because I know that there was a lot of people wanting this to be fleshed out in the past, and they just didn't. So they did share a map. I had never seen this before, but this is from way back in the 80s, back in 2nd edition. This is the entire world map for Warhammer. If you're familiar with the current world map, you can definitely tell that some things have changed a little bit. The Southlands is definitely different. Lustria, the old world. The old world is, hasn't changed that much, but I feel like everything else has changed quite a bit. And they, just to go show off the map that they've created, which looks very similar to the other old world map that they've shown before. It looks, it really does look fantastic. I do want these maps to like hang up on my wall somewhere. They're showing some of the banners. There's names for all the forests. There's some theories that wood elves are going to be in this forest, but it's just theories. Everywhere there's a tree, people are like, oh, wood elves. Lots of settlements and fortresses, lakes, the Great Bastion. But one thing I didn't really notice until somebody else pointed it out, this right up here. They believe that hobgoblins might be playable in the future, and that they're teasing that information here. Something that they might do, this is personally what I hope that they do, instead of releasing a book for every single potential faction that there is. Back in 6th edition of Warhammer, in the back of the book they had army lists that weren't fully play tested, but they're just kind of like fun thematic ones. So if you wanted to play Empire but you didn't want to be like, this is the whole Empire, you could be like, I'm doing a Midland theme or a Nuln theme or Hawkland. Or if you were playing High Elves, you could say, I'm gonna go with like a Lothar and like a seafaring kind of theme. And they had some cool little things about them. But some of them were more balanced than others. Like Skaven, you could play as like one of the clans, so that if you wanted to do like Eshin, it would be very heavy with gutter runners and stuff. Some of them weren't that good, but it was still really fun and thematic. And I hope that they do that with this. But, time will tell. Hopefully not too much longer. It's been like 7 months since we had a release. A lot of people were hoping for more information than what we got. All this really says is, hey, we're including Cathay. To be honest, I'm slightly surprised that Cathay is going to be available on release, which they have announced here. I thought that, they'd probably announce at release that, hey, we're working on Cathay next, and they'd release it later on. I didn't think that, like, on release we'd be able to play Cathay, but Kislev and Cathay are 2 confirmed brand new factions, 2 whole new model ranges that are going to be available when the game comes out. Or I assume the models will be available when the game comes out. So I'm sorry about taking a few days to get around to this. Play Total War Warhammer 3 if you haven't had a chance. It's a ton of fun, and I'll try and get on the next release a little bit quicker instead of playing video games instead. And I'm off to work now because YouTube doesn't pay my bills.